Um, okay, you're on, Randy.
Well, welcome to the Friday edition of Richardson Plano Networkers, and we joyfully welcome back Scott Schilling, who's been here more than a few times. Scott Schilling is the significance expert, committed to providing inspired answers to today's challenge. Also known as the Master of More, Scott helps people achieve more systematically, growing personally, professionally, financially, and spiritually. Through his books, TV shows, podcasts, speaking, training, consulting, and coaching, Scott helps individuals and organizations no matter where you are in your path, from survival to success to significance. Scott gives the guidance, direction, and action steps necessary to get from where you are to where you want to be. You may recall his last talk, he introduced his new book, okay, That Sucks, What Next? I highly recommend it. I am 14 pages away from finishing it. Scott brings a unique combination of 35 years of life experience in sales, marketing, and training, corporations, business owners, entrepreneurs, and individuals. He has presented at nearly 2,500 live events, sharing the stage with people like General Colin Powell, Rudy Giuliani, former First Lady Laura Bush, and many, many more. Please join me in welcoming Scott back once again.
Thank you, Randy. I greatly appreciate it. And first, let me start with a huge apology to everybody. Has anybody recognized business is not the same these days? Or am I the only one? And where you used to, when you had a lot of face-to-face meetings and you had a lot of different things, it was at a certain finish time, it was actually fairly easy to stand up and create visual clues on how to leave. and when you're in the middle of very important conversations on Zoom, unfortunately, you can't leave your own computer. It doesn't work that way. So total apologies on this. And yes, I was, Dave, going to share the screen and show some a PowerPoint, but I'm not going to do it that way. Again, is anybody else, I want to do it a little bit differently. And this is what's fun about coaching and training and speaking is kind of the intuitive nature of it sometimes. And intuitively, it just kind of came to me. How many of you are sick and tired of these two words? New normal. Am I the only one who I'm just so out on it already? You know, because it's like everything in business consistently is a new normal. And if it's not, you're not trying to improve your business. So why did all of a sudden we start to improve our businesses? I mean, we've been improving our businesses this entire time. So I want to touch on networking. I want to touch a little bit on what we're doing and why we're doing it specifically, but really this was about networking. So I'll stay to the topic from that side, but how many of you really realize what networking is? I mean, it's a purposeful strategy. It's a designed action to find like-minded, like-hearted people. Well, why would you want to do that? Easy. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. If they don't know you, they don't like you. If they don't like you, they don't trust you. They have to trust you to do business. Now, if you don't own that in your soul, you're really making a mistake in business, because the reality is people do business with those they know, like, and trust. You've got to develop a trusting relationship. So even though I've spoken to this group multiple times, and even though I have great relationships with so many of you who are on this screen right now, me being late hurts trust. Now, because we've got some earned relational capital over time, it might not hurt me as much with some of you as it will with others. But if you commit to be somewhere at a certain time, be there at a certain time. It's a novel concept. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. And so my apologies Now, why am I apologizing? Because I want your trust. I mean, I don't want to disappoint anybody ever in business. And unfortunately, we tend to do that. So there's two ways of really doing networking is really relationship building, and it's relationship building over an extended period of time. How many of you have ever been, just by a quick show of hands, you've ever gone into a new networking group and everybody goes in and tries to sell the room the first time they're there? Has that ever happened to anybody? And that person consistently walks out of that room going, I just don't understand this group. This group stinks. And it had nothing to do with the group. It had everything to do with their approach to the group, right? And so business is all about relationships. One of the stories I tell in the book, Randy, and thank you for the great review, and thank you for being such an ardent fan of the book. But I talk about speaking on the Get Motivated stages with Colin Powell and Rudy Giuliani and all those folks, stages of 25, 27,000 people, things like that. And people say, well, how did you get that gig? Well, it was 10 years in the making. 10 years earlier, I had done an event for somebody. I recognized they didn't have enough people there. I, in turn, offered to help them for the rest of the weekend. They said, we can't pay you. I said, when did I ever ask to be paid? I asked if I could help. They said, certainly. 5 years later, that same person walked into a room at the Marina Hotel in Sarasota, Florida. I went, hey, Rick, how you doing? He goes, you remember me? I said, of course I do. We did that gig 5 years ago at the Hotel Intercontinental in Dallas. He bought the $4,000 product I was representing from the stage. 5 years later, he was responsible for putting speakers on the stage. They had a vote, who's the best speaker in the country not speaking on our stages? They all wrote my name down. He called me. I was a 10-year overnight sensation. But most people aren't willing to put in 10 years. Guess what? Neither am I. But if that's what it took in that situation, was I willing? Absolutely. See, today's activity does not determine today's volume. Today's activity determines the volume 30, 60, 90 days from now. Today's volume was determined what happened 30, 60, 90 days ago. That's why networking is so important. Because you don't network when you need to grow your business. You network ahead of needing to grow your business. That's why it's your network is your net worth over time. But even that, as a cliche, only happens based on your ability to cultivate and earn that trust over time and maintain that trust over time. Now, there are people that you cannot see for 10 years and you could come do business with them immediately because there's that much relationship capital built. And then there are other people that you could leave 10 minutes from now and not do business with because there's almost no relational capital built. It's how much do you do this? So why should you mingle? Why should you network? Why should you participate in these things? Well, number one, to learn and improve how to communicate. The quality of your communication equals the quality of your business. If you can't communicate who you are, what you are, how it benefits somebody else, you've really accomplished nothing. How many of you want what I have today? Just by a show of hands, immediately. No, what, you're shy? Is this a trick? Am I supposed to raise my hand at this point? No, I'm asking you a serious question. Well, of course, you don't even know what I'm going to talk about. But see, some of you raised your hands because we've built trust over time, right? The other ones are going, I'm waiting to hear what you have to say. And each one of those is fine. It doesn't matter. But see, your ability to communicate, if you can't communicate your message, if you can't communicate who you are, why you are, what you do, why you do it. I mean, has anybody noticed that we're in a little bit of time of upheaval in our world? Or am I the only one? You know, somehow all of a sudden we're so dramatically different from each other. I'm pretty sure we've been dramatically different from each other this entire time. I don't think this is new. You know, all of a sudden we're starting to call, you know what, we should treat people with dignity, honor, and respect. Oh, there's a new concept. That should have been involved the entire time. See, people sit there and they don't think of these things. How do we build better teams? How do we do these things? Well, we should all be surrounding ourselves with go-to experts. None of us are experts in everything. Now, personally, I've worked to gain knowledge in as much as relates to business as possible, not so that I'm necessarily an expert in everything, so that I can audit the experts I work with. I mean, I can craft a landing page. I know people who do it a whole heck of a lot better. So if I craft a landing page to be of service to me, but then now I'm talking to the expert in doing that, if I don't know how to do it and they give me a bunch of hooey, is it expertise or is it hooey? You don't know. So again, part of it is when you're networking, you achieve different levels of expertise in different things. See, if you're truly working to be interested as opposed to interesting, it's amazing what you find out. You really start to find out people's hearts. I know that Randy has a heart to serve businesses. Now, I don't know if you understood this, but Randy also did some pretty technical crud in his career. And you go, how does that fit? Well, that might not fit, but his heart does. And so being able to pull from that expertise to take it to that next level makes a huge difference. It's the same thing of getting to know each and every one of you. The more I know about you, I can empathize with Rayanne's desire to serve people holistically without pharmaceuticals, without intervention of medical and things like that. I can empathize with Zip's desire to use natural products to help people achieve things in their health going forward, because I know their hearts and what their desire is. You know, so again, from a networking side, to me, it's about creating community and doing it in such a way that it becomes very intentional. I want to know who the contenders are, but I also want to know who the pretenders are. So are you a contender or a pretender? Right? The point is, the one who's in control of sharing that message is ultimately you and how you do it. So it's great to find networking groups and do a lot of this in person, and you cut through a whole lot of crud when it's in person, meaning you're all in the same location. But quite frankly, what's available through Zoom right now and online video platforms. See, let me take a little offshoot. There was a communication study done in 1977 at UCLA that talked about interpersonal nonverbal communication and the value of each. The findings are the most misquoted findings in the universe. So I'm going to be consistent and misquote them as well. But the fact is, 7% of the communication is the words. 38% is the tonality behind how the words are delivered. 55% is the physiology behind the communication of that. So people focus so hard to become a wordsmith, and yet if they don't deliver the words with quality and integrity, they're not worth the words that they are. So it's a combination. So here's what happens now, because we've been socially distanced, and I like to say physically distanced, socially aligned. The fact is we've been physically distanced. So we've changed the way we do business. We're now doing it virtually. But guess what? The beauty of it is we can use all three modalities of the communication model. The challenge with it is we're using all three modalities of the communication model. Do you understand when you're on camera? I can see you. And I can see if you're interested in what I'm saying or not. How can I see that? By reading your body language. It's no different than if I'm in person. How many of you have been on a Zoom meeting where you have at some time gone, do they realize they're on camera? Do they realize they've got a quarantine mullet growing? Do they have understanding of this? See, I've got my quarantine mullet. My wife said to me this morning, she goes, well, my God, when are you going to get your hair cut? And I said, when I can't slick it back that everybody can see it. That's not really the answer, by the way. So the point is, one of the things that, again, you can go to networking groups, you can do all those things locally, but we've actually launched a platform that's designed to help people network and grow community worldwide. Now, why would I want to grow community worldwide? I know this, you'll find this hard to believe. Is there any chance you might have worn out local? You know what I'm saying? Is that sorry, all of a sudden the screen popped up over my screen. That in fact going there, and I love going to the same groups, but you understand at some point groups get very familiar and so familiar that the stated desire of what you're doing may not get done, right? So you got to make sure that it stays fresh and you do all that. Well, the other way of doing it is understanding there are new ways of doing it. Well, what do we all face right now? Social media. I don't know. Let's see. 2.4 billion people a month come to Facebook. 2.4 billion people. Look at all those prospects. Oh my God, we can do so much business. Let's take a small business ad and put it there to hit our target market, because they're for sure going to see it right behind 2 cat videos and yesterday's lunch. So now you've spent all this hard-earned money because the volume is there that nobody sees anyway. What? That's called reality. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. So let's go to the business platform that exists. LinkedIn. Oh my God, 700 million people. These are business people. They must be serious. That 10% pay over $1,000 a year to escape the lower end of the free membership. Let me do the math for you. 70 million people pay over $1,000 a year to escape the 630 million that are on the platform that are free. Oh, they would never do that. Oh, nobody's tired of being botted to death at this point. Nobody's tired of oh, I just saw your profile. Oh my God, I didn't think of this before, but you know, we should be doing business together. Oh, that is so sincere. Are you kidding me? Which is exactly why we've launched Be Connected, which is a intentional community, a purposeful hub for people to come to do quality business together, because we're tired of the crud too. We don't want 2.4 billion. We don't want 700 million. We don't even want 70 million. We just want 1 million in the first year that are the people who are serious about doing business together the right way for all the right reasons. See, sometimes you got to think outside the box. The one thing the pandemic has done, if it has done anything for people, is the way we used to do, spoiler alert, the way we used to do business will never be done the same way again. Never, ever, 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 ever in the history of ever will it be done the same way again. Do you understand? It'll never be done the same way again. And we were building this platform long before the COVID lockdown and the pandemic hit, because we were tired. Anybody sick and tired of being sick and tired? Anybody else? Me too. I got a friend, believe it or not. I've got more than one friend. Well, I hope I do. But I got at least one friend that is one of the best networkers in Dallas. And we were talking not too long ago, and I said, you know what's so amazing? Is you go to the same 12 groups to see the same 12 people, to hear the same 12 pitches, and nobody does business together. It is so awesome. And you have the same thing every time you go to that restaurant to eat. But you're networking, by God. No, you're not. Come on. Now, I'm all for groups of people. Again, that's why you got to keep it fresh. I'm just calling it like it is. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. I'm just trying to, you've got to look at new ways. You got to think outside the box. Well, that's exactly what we did as we created. And I'll talk a little bit more about it as we go along. But again, networking, growing your business is about establishing a plan and creating a strategy around it. So what's your intention when you come to something? As opposed to just showing up at a certain time on a certain date, what's your intention of doing that? Has anybody ever showed up physically to a networking meeting and the person who absolutely told you they were going to be there? I mean, they called you just before you left the house. And they said, I cannot wait to talk to you when you get there today. Not show up? Has that ever happened? Oh my God, you got in a car. And we here in Dallas, we it's so funny. People go, you know what the traffic's like in Dallas? Traffic in Dallas ain't nothing. Live in LA, live in Chicago, go where traffic is really traffic. It's not traffic. It's called a parking lot with wheels. It all moves together, right? So now you take and you allocate the one thing that is precious and a commodity that people sit there and say, oh, I've just got so much of it. No, we all have the same of it. 86,400 seconds in a day. We all have time. Well, this is a free platform. This is a free this. This is a free, spoiler alert, if you want to write anything down from this, free has a cost to it. The cost is time and energy. Free is not free. Don't be fooled that free is free. Free is not free. Because anytime you expend time, it's perishable. It disappears. That time is gone. And the energy you consume is gone. So free isn't free. So therefore, what is your intention when you come to network, to be with people, to do whatever? I mean, in this group, you've got a fairly good idea who's going to show up consistently. Would that be a true statement? Right? You've got it. So are you planning all week long before you come here which one of the people that you believe will be here, what question you'll be ready to ask them? Have you planned it out? Or are you waiting for it to pop top of mind once you show up? See, there's a word as a professional salesperson, there is a word that drives me crazy. And that word is pitch. See, I am not with the Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers pitch. I am a professional salesperson. I present. if you don't care about the quality and level of your communication, why should somebody else? Well, give me your sales pitch. I don't have one. You don't have a sales pitch? No, I've got a sales presentation. Would you prefer that? Do you understand what happens if I just say that one little thing to somebody? It's like, whoo, you just up-leveled who you are based on what you just said to me. So again, I encourage you to perfect your elevator presentation. I encourage you to modify it consistently. I encourage you to come at it different ways as you're doing the presentations. See, you have to fine-tune that presentation. You have to fine-tune it towards different things. If you've noticed, how many questions have I asked you so far? At least 5. Why? I'm working to pull you into the conversation as opposed to simply dictating to you or making a diatribe at you. See, your presentation has to be that of inclusion. Just because you're good at saying something doesn't mean they want to listen to it or that they even try to listen to it. Now, because of trust, there's a little greater implication than non-trust. But, you know, how many of you believe your product is horrible? What? No hands up on that one? Really? So you all think your product is good? You all think your product is superior? How many times do you think somebody else is anticipating you think your product is superior? Let me just answer that quickly, 100%. So then if they anticipate that, do you think they're on guard to that? Whereas if you say, you know what, I don't know for a fact if my product could be of service to you, but neither do you until you either experience it or we can have some good conversation about it. See, if I subordinate myself a little bit in the networking process, if I pull back a little bit on the presentation of my product, if I offer something different in my networking speak, do you understand what a difference that all makes? Now, let me go back to where I was earlier. Remember, I said the communication physiology is 55% of the presentation. Here's what that means on Zoom. They can see you. If you are not enthralled by what they are saying, turn on your frickin' picture and turn off your camera. Do we all understand we're busy? Yes. Do we all, oh, wait. Let me give this presentation. I just got a text. Let me handle this while I'm making a presentation because you're so important to me. If an important text comes in, take the text, but turn your camera off first because I can see you, right? It's not that hard to hit the camera button and hit the X across it. If you have to go to the restroom in the middle of your Zoom meeting, don't leave your camera on. Hopefully you're not doing it in your chair anyway. Hopefully you've left, right? Now, sometimes, you know, I get it. The meetings get long. Anyway, sorry, being silly there for a second. The point is that when you're networking, understand that what you're really doing is you're building relationships. And everything is about relationships. Everything in business is. And if you want to be valuable to people, be valuable to them. That's probably not with your product, by the way. Wait, Scott, don't you understand? How do I do my business if I don't sell my product? I didn't say don't sell your product. I said be valuable to other people by being valuable to them. Be of service to them in what you're doing, right? Serve them in what they're working to do. That may come through introductions, but it may not. It may come by buying their product just because they're a friend, but I don't like their product. Too bad. Give it to somebody. Now you serve two people. You bought a product from a friend and you gave it to a different friend. Hey, I was thinking about you. I know you said your back hurts, so I got this CBD oil because, quite frankly, I'm tired of seeing you hurt. I want to give it to you as a gift. Hey, you know what you could do? You could get a book and you could give it to somebody. My lease ran out on my truck during all this, and I finally had a chance to go get a lease on a new vehicle the other day. And there was some paperwork that they wanted that we didn't have with us. I mean, my Social Security card. Oh my God. I have no clue where that was. Hadn't seen it for years. Right. So I had to make a copy of it and I faxed it to him and it bounced, and I faxed it to a different address and it bounced, and I faxed a different address and it bounced. It bounced 4 times from the dealership. I should be so upset. Guess what I did? I printed it on a piece of paper because during the closing, the guy said, this was such a no nonsense sales process. Why did it happen so easy? Because I told the guy right out of the blocks, I'm talking to the general manager at the dealership, because I told the salesman right out of the blocks, I train sales forces for a living. So I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to make this deal. If you try to do anything other than that, I will walk out. I am working to save you time and energy. I want to leave with a vehicle here today. Now, are you hearing what I'm saying? He said, yes, he did exactly what I said. Guess what? We made a deal. So now I'm in the general manager's office as they're doing the different stuff. And he goes, how come this happened so fast? I said, well, because I trained sales forces and I told your sales guy how to handle me. He said, really? He said, that's amazing. How come more people don't do that? I said, because they're terrible salespeople. He said, how do you fix that? I said, well, I usually go in and train the sales forces. Do you understand what I just did? I just seated the heck out of him. Well, I didn't know we were going to have the paperwork issue. So we had the paperwork issue. So after 4 times bouncing, I could be really upset with the dealership, but I wasn't upset with the dealership. I printed all the materials he wanted and I took it in an envelope. And somehow one of my books got into the envelope. And so when I took him the paperwork, he pulled out all the paperwork. He goes, thank you so much for coming and bringing us this. That's so way up and beyond the call. And he goes, what's this? I said, oh, it's a copy of my new book. Remember when I was telling you the other day that I just came out with a new book? He goes, well, who's this for? And I said, for you. And he said, you're kidding me, right? And I said, no, why would I kid you about that? I just thought it would be beneficial to you. He said, well, you can't leave without signing it to me. And I said, okay. So I signed it to him. And do you understand? He goes, could we have a conversation about maybe you helping my sales force with some of this? Gosh, I would have never thought of that. So again, I know we're running on time, Dave, but let me get into do you understand?
We got about 5 minutes or a little less to.
So here's what I'm gonna share a little bit about what is it okay if I share a little bit about what we've created, this online?
Sure. And I assume that we'll have a follow-up opportunity.
Well, absolutely.
Okay.
So basically what we created is called Be Connected. BEEKONNECTED, BeConnected.com. And it is an intentional community. It's a membership organization for people who want to do business together worldwide with quality and integrity. Novel concept. And we not only is it about connection, basically, here's in a nutshell, we've created dating software for the business world. You become a member, you fill out your profile. Literally, it's a permission-based system. Instead of finding your perfect mate, we don't ask, do you like blonde hair, blue eyes, and long walks on a sunny beach? We ask, what's your business? Who's your ideal customer? Who would be a great collaborative partner? Who's a great vendor? What's your occupation? What's your location? Do you understand? And we now match profiles at a nanosecond. I can sit at my computer and have people at a punch of a button in nanoseconds to potentially do business with. So that's one thing. Plus, we've put search capabilities in there. Plus, we've put the social media capabilities in there, all in one platform. Then we combine it with world-class coaching, because does anybody notice somebody moved the cheese? That business is different these days. Mm-hmm. Well, we've created coaches who are in the lanes to serve you. Our coaches have committed and donated as part of the membership $14,697 in training included in the membership, right out of the block. Some of the best e-commerce, queen of video, lead generation, all these different things. And by the way, we're going to have 52 coaches. We're going to have a category coach every week. So that university being built in there will continue to grow. And then we included member benefits like this Zoom platform. This is, I can't say that name, by the way. The fact we have a top tier webinar platform that has the enterprise capabilities with 500 seats, live stream 10,000 to Facebook, live stream to YouTube and other platforms. The $169 package for $10 a month when you're a member of Be Connected. And we also added a $2,500 travel savings passport. So we actually add $2,500. Our total offer is $19,764 in value for $299. And the ability to be a member for life for free beyond that. Now, I know that's real general. So what I'd love to do, and this was my plan, David, is to get to this point and just say, I know I went through that really quick. The best way for you to understand it is to see it. What I would love to do for this group is any of you that want to learn more about it, I will do a webinar to walk through it. It takes 30 to 40 minutes. I'll walk through it all. And if it's right for you, God bless. If it's not right for you, God bless. We are working to create something because it's a bunch of people who have been sick and tired of being sick and tired with not being able to do business with quality and integrity, because we're on the free platforms, we're inundated by people. See, if you ever have a title behind your name and people think you can do something for them, trust me, they try. So I get 25 requests a day. Well, just deny them all.
Yeah.
No, guess what? That still takes time. So I actually accept them all, because now I'm going to reverse market them. Sure. If you think I'm a good connection for you, God bless you. Thanks for starting it, because I'll reverse market you. Anyway, the point is, I apologize for a little delay. I love talking to you guys. I'll help you anytime, anyway. We'll get into great depth. I'm actually doing a full-blown topic on the mastery of networking Monday night. It's a free webinar where I will show all the PowerPoints and go into great depth on all this stuff. So please join me there too. But if you want to learn about BeConnected.com, just send me an email, scott@scottschilling.com. I will do a private presentation for you. It'd be great to have a group, but I'll do the presentation for you so you can really understand. We're working to grow people's businesses worldwide. And if you want to be part of that, guess what that does to your market? It expands your reach.
Hey, Scott, it is 1 o'clock. What I want to do is,
go ahead.
In addition to that, I will be at that webinar on Monday, by the way, myself.
Cool.
But one of the things I'm thinking is, obviously everybody here wants to improve their networking. I assume that's a lot of why people are here. And so there's probably at least some percentage of folks. So I'll be sharing the Monday webinar information with this group in the Richardson Plano Networkers group, as well as if you're game, Scott, I may set up a separate Zoom call for you to kind of share the details.
Absolutely.
Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
With be connected that way we could be efficient.
Let's do it that way. You go to my calendar, you figure out what works for the group.
Okay.
You go to my calendar and reserve the time.
Okay.
You show up, I'll show up.
Okay.